In 1992, at a quiet vineyard in Italy, Ferruccio Lamborghini reflects on the man who became his greatest rival, Enzo Ferrari, the legendary founder of Ferrari. The story then takes us back to the end of World War II. Ferruccio and his close friend Matteo return home to Italy after serving as soldiers. Ferruccio reunites with his wife Clelia and his family, who live a simple life as farmers on their modest land. But Ferruccio has bigger dreams. He tells his father that he does not want to spend his life farming. He wants to move to the city, even if it means living in a tiny apartment. During the war, he worked as a mechanic and learned everything he could about engines and machinery. Now he wants to build tractors that are cheaper, more efficient, and better than anything on the market. More than that, he wants to change his family's destiny and make the Lamborghini name known far beyond their small farm, even after he is gone. His father does not believe in that dream. To him, they are farmers, and competing with established tractor companies sounds impossible. But Ferruccio refuses to give up, and that stubborn refusal would change everything. This is Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. 6 months later, he and Matteo enter a car they built themselves into a prestigious race. Their goal is simple. If they win and gain attention, they can attract investors and fund Ferruccio's first tractor. The winner's trophy will be presented by none other than Enzo Ferrari. The race is intense. A Mercedes runs in third, a Porsche leads in first, and Ferruccio's unnamed car holds second place. Driven by ambition and emotion, Ferruccio pushes Matteo to take the lead, but their engine cannot handle the pressure. The car drops to last place. Frustrated and unwilling to accept defeat, Ferruccio grabs the steering wheel himself, which only leads to a crash. The failure hits him hard. He begins to doubt himself and questions whether he ever had what it takes. But Clelia stands by him. She believes he can still achieve his dream. He just has not found the right path yet. Then she shares life-changing news. She is pregnant. That news fills Ferruccio with joy and renewed determination. However, the race has drained all his money. He goes back to his father and asks for financial support to build his tractor, promising to repay every cent with interest if necessary. Seeing his son's burning ambition, Ferruccio's father gives him his savings and even mortgages the family farmland. Clelia is furious when she finds out. That land represents generations of hard work and sacrifice. Even though Ferruccio promises to return everything, she demands that the money be given back. But Ferruccio is not the kind of man who lets go of a dream. Instead, he opens an account at a bank in Cento, owned by someone close to the Lamborghini family. He begins designing his first tractor, which he names Carioca. It is smaller than others on the market, but more powerful and more fuel-efficient, built not just for farms, but for industry. The next day, he and Matteo buy a pile of scrap metal and start dismantling and rebuilding it piece by piece. Slowly, their vision begins to take shape. One morning, Matteo notices a young woman stepping off a bus and instantly falls in love. True to his shy nature, he struggles to approach her. So, Ferruccio steps in to help and introduces her to Matteo. Her name is Anita, but Matteo can barely get a few words out. And before long, it becomes clear that Anita is far more interested in Ferruccio than in his friend. Work on the tractor continues, and every so often they spot Anita stepping off the bus again. At home, Ferruccio does his best to comfort Clelia during her pregnancy. He is excited, counting the days until he can finally meet his child. Then the day of the birth arrives. Ferruccio is still at work, finishing up details before the delivery. He ends up staying late, waiting for the Lamborghini logo to be completed. By the time he gets home, Clelia has already suffered heavy bleeding and has been rushed to the hospital. The news hits him like a shock. He runs straight there, desperate to see her. But while he is on his way, Clelia continues to bleed during labor, calling out for him as he struggles to arrive in time. Tragically, she does not survive. The baby is saved, but Clelia dies from the blood loss. Overcome with guilt, Ferruccio lashes out in grief, destroying everything in his warehouse. After the funeral, his son is baptized and named Antonio. Not long after, Ferruccio completes his tractor and goes to meet Victor Rossi, the bank owner. He explains that his design is 50% smaller and more fuel-efficient than other tractors, yet powered by an engine twice as strong. He asks for investment funding to produce 1,000 units. After careful consideration, Victor agrees to finance Lamborghini's company. That night, Ferruccio and Matteo celebrate at an upscale restaurant. By coincidence, Anita is there as well. Matteo finally opens up about how deeply he has fallen for her. Wanting to help his friend, Ferruccio encourages him to speak to her and steps outside for a smoke so they can have privacy. But soon after, Anita leaves the restaurant and joins Ferruccio instead. She explains that Matteo tried talking to her, but for reasons she cannot quite explain, she feels drawn to Ferruccio. She sits beside him, and the conversation grows more intimate. From a distance, Matteo watches, heartbroken. Their friendship begins to crack over the same woman. Matteo accuses Ferruccio of always wanting more, of being greedy in every aspect of life. He demands 25% of the company's shares, leaving the rest to Ferruccio. The story then moves to 1962. By now, Lamborghini's tractor company has grown enormously, and Ferruccio has become a wealthy man. Anita is now his wife and also works as his accountant. Antonio is growing into a young man. Anita urges Ferruccio to spend more time with his son. Antonio does not need money or luxury cars. He needs his father's attention. Ferruccio takes that advice to heart, spending time with Antonio and even gifting him a motorboat. One day, a man named Bob Wallace arrives looking for a job. He claims to be highly skilled in engineering and quite talented in racing as well. He has applied to Fiat, Maserati, and Ferrari, but was turned away each time. Now he is trying his luck at Lamborghini. Ferruccio shows Bob his collection of Ferraris, all of which share the same persistent clutch problem. Bob offers an opinion that impresses Ferruccio. Soon after, Ferruccio decides to confront the source of the issue directly, Enzo Ferrari himself. At Ferrari's office, Ferruccio approaches Enzo as he steps out of the building. He praises him as the best car manufacturer in the world and proudly mentions owning 7 Ferraris. But he also points out that every single one of them has the same faulty clutch, noisy and unreliable. Ferruccio proposes a collaboration, suggesting that Lamborghini's superior clutch system and strong engines could improve Ferrari's cars. Instead of considering the idea, Enzo reacts with arrogance and dismisses him outright. To Enzo, Ferruccio is nothing more than a farmer who does not belong in the world of elite car makers. After being humiliated by Enzo Ferrari, Ferruccio finds himself at the Matador Museum. There, he studies the images of the legendary Mura bulls, known for their strength, aggression, and dominance in the arena. Listening to the stories behind those powerful animals sparks something inside him. If Ferrari's symbol is a prancing horse, then he will create a raging bull. And he will build a car strong enough to defeat Ferrari. Not long after, Ferruccio begins assembling a dream team. He recruits some of the best engineers from rival companies, Giotto from Ferrari, Gianpaolo from Maserati, and Franco from Alfa Romeo. Each of them brings world-class expertise. Ferruccio presents his vision for his first sports car, the Lamborghini 350 GT, a machine built for both power and speed, as fast as a race car but refined for the road. The problem is, Ferruccio's demands sound almost impossible. He wants a 3,500cc engine with a 5-speed transmission, dual ignition coils, 6 twin carburetors, and more advanced features than anyone expects. It seems unrealistic, even excessive. But Gianpaolo suggests using aluminum for several components instead of iron, making the engine 50% lighter. That breakthrough makes the vision more achievable. Ferruccio sets an almost absurd deadline. The car must be ready in just 6 months to debut at the Geneva Motor Show, one of the most prestigious international auto exhibitions in the world. With time running against them, the team brings in more specialists to handle fabrication, drivetrain assembly, and braking systems. At first, even his own engineers doubt whether it can be done. But Ferruccio is unwavering. He insists that what they are building will be the best, strongest, fastest, and most beautiful car in the world. Days turn into weeks. Ferruccio becomes completely consumed by the 350 GT. He pours company money into the project without hesitation. At home, Anita grows concerned. During dinner, she urges him to stop the car project and focus on the tractor business that made them successful. If the car fails, the entire company could collapse. She reminds him that he has been neglecting not only her, but also the board members, the employees, and even his own son. All he seems to care about is his Lamborghini. Ferruccio reacts emotionally. He refuses to live an ordinary life. He believes Anita does not understand the scale of his ambition. He even convinces himself that everyone admires him. Anita counters with a harsh truth. Employees may like him now because he pays them, but if he cannot pay them anymore, the workers will rise against him. Then she hands him a letter regarding a vacancy for a new secretary. She has fired the previous one after discovering Ferruccio's affair. Despite the turmoil, Lamborghini's first car factory is built. The Geneva Motor Show is only 3 months away. Still, Ferruccio feels the car is not perfect. The dual carburetors are too large for the hood space, and the design lacks the dramatic impact he wants. One night, Bob Wallace returns, determined to become the official test driver for the new Lamborghini. Impressed by Bob's confidence and persistence, Ferruccio accepts him. Around the same time, Ferruccio sketches a bull on a napkin. That drawing will later become the iconic Lamborghini logo. Eventually, the final design is completed. The carburetors are adjusted to fit, and the assembly is finished.
We have a car.
To celebrate the creation of his first sports car, Ferruccio attends a party. There, he meets a beautiful woman named Gabriella, and the two begin talking. Soon after, Anita and Antonio arrive at the same event. They see Ferruccio behaving far too intimately with Gabriella. Without hesitation, Anita decides she has had enough and asks for a divorce. A few days later, the prototype undergoes its test drive. Ferruccio is thrilled with the results. Confident and proud, he decides to paint the car green for its grand debut at Geneva. In 1964, the Geneva Motor Show finally opens its doors. The newest luxury cars from the biggest names in the industry are on display, each one competing for attention. Among them stands Ferruccio, with his Lamborghini still hidden beneath a curtain. Confident and composed, he speaks to the press about his car, describing it as a true innovation, something superior to anything else at the show. In the middle of it all, he quietly sends a note to Enzo Ferrari through one of the saleswomen. The paper contains a provocative sketch, a bull overpowering a horse. Then the curtain drops. The Lamborghini 350 GT is finally revealed, and all eyes turn toward it. The car is bold, elegant, and unmistakably different. Ferruccio makes sure his message is clear. Choosing Ferrari may make someone feel important, but buying a Lamborghini means you already are. For a moment, it feels like total victory, but success does not last forever. About 6 years later, the world changes. The 1970s bring economic turmoil, wars, and severe inflation. The effects ripple across industries, including automotive manufacturing. Lamborghini's sales begin to stall. Fuel prices skyrocket, rising by 300%, and wages can no longer keep up. Just as Anita once warned, labor unions protest when salaries cannot be paid. Eventually, Ferruccio makes the difficult decision to sell his company. Half of the proceeds go to his son Antonio, and the other half to his siblings. At one point, Antonio asks whether achieving all those dreams was truly worth it. Ferruccio does not answer. He simply remains silent. Not long after, Ferruccio buys a home with a vineyard. He returns to a quieter life, managing a few businesses and producing his own wine. Living alone, he often looks at old photographs of his family and former friends. Sometimes he drives his yellow Lamborghini Miura, one of the most iconic cars of its time, reflecting on the winding road his life has taken. He thinks about the sacrifices, the ambition, and most of all, his first wife, Clelia. Today, the name Lamborghini still lives on in the hearts of car enthusiasts around the world. And for Ferruccio, what remains are the memories of his struggles, his victories, and the love he once had. So the moral of the story is, if someone calls you a farmer, just build a supercar, steal their engineers, sketch a bull on a napkin, and prove them wrong, but maybe answer your wife's calls first.